I chose this gospel reading this morning for a very specific reason, and you'll might learn during what I'm going to say. I really don't have a sermon. I have more of a testimony. I hope that's okay. In 2004, I was asked to be a deputy at convention. I had no idea what that entailed, so that's why I was so willing to go. Some of you might relate to that. Checking in on Friday, I confirmed that I didn't know anyone except the 3 people I came with. And that was a little strange to me to be all these people. They're supposed to be the same religion, but I didn't know anything. Saturday was a little different. I was up in the rafters. It was in Speculator in that time. I was looking through the workshop booklet, and nothing seemed interesting until I found a great sounding workshop called Healing of Memories. And it was led by some lay person from Connecticut. You might know him. A few of you might know him. Maybe Nigel Mumford. Yeah. I thought it was the exact workshop I needed. I desperately needed healing with some awful memories that I had from a step-grandfather. It only took a few moments to realize when Nigel spoke for a while, and then it didn't take long before I was in the second row. I wasn't true Episcopalian. I didn't sit in the back. I sat near the front. And I started sobbing. And I tried to control it and hold it in, and I tried desperately. But after the workshop, a couple asked if they could pray with me. 4 hours later, I don't know how they did it or how I did it. I was like a puddle or a wrung-out dish rag. But they suggested I come back at 7 o'clock for the big healing service. So after the healing service, they have that talk first. And I went to a healing team, and there was the newly ordained Julia Mudge. That's when we used to do ordinations at convention. And Shaw Mudge, and Mother Lori Lyons. She was Lori Lyons back then. She's Lori Hart now? Okay. So I thought comfortable going to them because the Mudges were at Walton at one time, and I was going to Walton at that time. I thought, well, that's a team I should go to. So I went up to them, and Mother Lori's over here, and Deacon Julia is over here. They both take my hand, and Mother Lori said, "Can we pray just a couple of minutes before you tell us why you're here?" I said, "Okay." And it was just a few seconds, and she said, "Okay, who are you not forgiving?" I thought, well, I'd spent the last 4 hours with that healing team working on my memories from the time I'd been 13 to 16. I said, well, I thought I had. I'm still working on it. But I think I've got a lot of resentment and anger because I've been holding on to this for 33 years. And let me tell you, that can be suffering. Your emotional and spiritual state can affect your body. And I'm proof. So she said, okay. I told them the story. She said, now let's get into prayer. They started holding my hands again. I'm holding on tight. I just squeezed my eyes so tight because I didn't want to start crying. I cry easy, by the way. I should have told you who I am, right? My deacon can't talk. She's got laryngitis for so many weeks. Please pray for Deacon Barb. So I'll stop now and tell you. I'm Mother Laura Miller. I'm the priest in charge at St. James Lake George, and I'm also the chaplain for the Welcome Home Initiative. And that's a wonderful program. So I know a few of you. So that's why I guess I felt so comfortable to start talking. Anyway, so I've got my eyes closed, and I'm holding on to Mother Lori and Deacon Julia, and they start praying. And I started getting tremendously hot. I've never had hot flashes before. And I started getting hot. And all of a sudden, I felt like my hair was standing on, my top of my hair was standing up. I didn't know if it was. And all of a sudden, the three of us went, whoa! The shock in my hands were tremendous. But they felt it too. Julia Mudge will still tell you the story. She still remembers it. But Mother Lori is smiling. I'm going, that was shocking to me, literally. She said, I saw something, but I know you saw something. And I had never received a vision before in my life. Didn't know what they were, didn't hear anything. And I said, it's not going to make sense. I said, I'm standing in my garden. I'm wearing black. I've never worn black in my life. And I've gone to 4 funerals, never worn black. But I'm smiling. And I'm just not a smiling person. And I said, it really doesn't make sense because I'm standing in the middle of my Dutch irises. And she says, well, God will often meet you in a garden. Okay. But my irises are only 6 inches wide. Why would I be standing them? I only got them on Thursday. She said, well, let's continue to pray. And the rest of the night was like a blur. I just was a bigger puddle by the end. I don't know how long they prayed with me. But the next day, I was filled with a joy I had never felt. Went to the youth mass, and I'm not a person that particularly liked children. I was scared of children. I didn't go to summer camp. I didn't do those. I was an only child for a long time. So just wasn't used to children. But I was at that youth mass, and I was like crazy. And after that, my life was just different. So we're at Speculator. By the time we get home, it's almost 6 o'clock, and we had a Sunday mass at church because, of course, we're up there. Our priest was with us, so our church service was at 6. So we run in the door. It was only 5 till 6, and few of you know my husband. He's 5'1". And I run in, and I get to the pew, and he looks at me, and he went, what happened at convention? And I went, what? And I'm looking down at him. And we were both the same height at our marriage. We were both 5'1". All of a sudden, I'm almost 5'4". We couldn't figure out why. So we finally decided to ask a few people that knew more about the healing ministry, and they said, I think it's because you were holding the tension for so many years and trying to hide the fact you might be a girl that you just shut down. And now you're released. But to be 3 inches taller and your husband's now here. But we both kind of shrunk a little bit. So he's like less than 5 foot now, Barb, you think? Yeah, he's about 5. But I'm closer to 5'2" now. So age has taken my toll, but it's, but now I got home. It was too dark to see in my garden. I was really anxious to go in my garden and see where my irises were. Too dark. Had to wait till the next day. That was the longest night of my life. So I ran out the next morning, and that's when I got a big shock. My Dutch irises were now 3 feet. Flowers do not grow that fast, especially irises. They multiply, but every year you might get a couple, but not that fast. But in the middle, there's a spot the size for my feet. Okay, so I take this as a sign. I'm going, okay, I got to step in there. And that's when I started to pray. I don't think I ever consciously prayed that long. But I prayed and I prayed. And then that's when I got another vision. This time I am wearing black, but I have a green stole on. Oh, heavens to Betsy. I said, oh, Lord, please don't do this to me. I just now got out of the pew last week to read. That was scary enough. And I couldn't believe that he would want me to sign up for holy orders. It just, no. So I prayed more, and he was showing me all these pictures, and I said, okay, that's it. I have to step out. So I stepped out. He says, and that's when I heard, you've been freed from your suffering. Now go in peace. That's it. I signed up for holy orders after that. And it was up here, January 2nd, 2005. Started my classes in September of 2005. I thought everything was smooth sailing. No. It was until 2007. I'm supposed to be ordained in 2008. We're getting a new bishop, but that's okay. That worked out at the time. And then I thought, I don't know. I'm going to school, but all of a sudden, and I'm in my internship year. When you're in your deacon school, did you do this too? You had to go away for a while. Do you still do that? And you had to intern in another church. That scared me a lot. And I was fine, doing well. Had to preach a few times. That was okay. But then I started getting tremendous headaches. Tremendous. And I would walk against the wall. I couldn't walk out down the aisle. I would have to hold on to the pews as I go. And didn't know what it was. But it lasted 3 weeks. My husband took me to the doctor. They said, okay, we'll do an MRI. And I got back, and the doctor sat down and said, you have 2 brain tumors. I went, okay. She said, did you hear me? I said, you told me I had 2 brain tumors. She said, yes, but you're calm. I said, God's already shown me what I'm supposed to be doing. So just get it fixed and let me go on. She said, okay. I got a neurologist appointment 4 weeks later, had the MRI taken with me. And he says, well, this 4 weeks, I want another MRI to see how far it's grown. Okay. So it was ordered for the next Friday. This is on a Monday. And I thought, well, while we're here, we're just in time for the noonday mass at the cathedral. So we stopped by the cathedral real quick, and Bishop Dan was there, full regalia, cope and everything. He was really dressed up on a Monday. I couldn't believe it. And he asked me to do a reading. I thought, oh, no. So I'm sitting, of course, in the second row. I'm still not full Episcopalian, I guess. I walked to the aisle, but I'm kind of staggering to get there. So after the service, he says, okay, I know a lot about you. I know you don't drink. She said, I saw you stagger. What's wrong? So I told him that the MRI says I have 2 brain tumors. He immediately put the cope around my husband and I and prayed for a very long time. He said, okay, when I get back to the office across the street, I'm calling Nigel. You're going to the healing service tomorrow. I'm going, oh, that's another 3-hour drive. because we live in the southern tier. Okay, I'll do it. You're my bishop. I'll do it. So I did. I came back up, left at 6:30 in the morning, and that's a lot because it's on a curvy road leaving Walton, the curvy road. Get up there. Nigel gets up there and says, okay, who's Laura Miller? I just got to know. Who's Laura Miller? I said, oh, it's me. He had me come up front, and everyone in the room, and it used to be a huge service, like 50 people, stopped to pray over me. That was I felt pretty good. I didn't stagger leaving. My husband held me, though. I didn't stagger. Okay, I didn't stagger that week. Had the MRI on Friday. Went back on Monday to the neurologist. He's scratching his head and reading the report in his office. He says, this has never happened. He says, your MRI is clean. I said, I know, I haven't staggered all week. He said, we're going to run another one. I'm going, you don't need to. I know I've been freed from the suffering. And I had been suffering because all that dizziness makes you. And he said, well, I just want to, my own peace of mind, I'll run another one. I go, well, if my insurance company will pay for it, good luck. I still don't have the brain tumors. Even though they checked me, they have come back one other time. And it was I was on the Profound Search Committee for the new bishop. They came back. Well, immediately you go to a healing service. That's it. I believe in healing services. Let me tell you, I believe heavily in them. Went away again. So I was able to go to the retreat, meet the candidates. I was fine. And I think only Sue Ellen and one other person knew at the time. I didn't want a lot of people knowing, just the healing teams. That's all that needs to know. God already knew. Healing team was on it. But I'm fine. I just have to go every once in a while. If I get a tremendous headache, I'll go to an MRI. But the Lord has changed my heart when I was ordained. Remember, I told you I didn't like children. But I was wonderful at the youth mass. Right after I was ordained, I got a call saying, we've had a cancellation. Can you do Beaver Cross? I'm like, that means children. Junior high week. Oh. I thought, well, thank God it's not high school week. It's just, no, I don't want to do high school. I think that's when I met you, Terry, one of those weeks. Now I've done 16 weeks at Beaver Cross. I run a school program at church. Yeah. And that has some marvelous things. And then all of a sudden, God gave me a vision. And he made me write 2 children's books so far. So, and I started working at school with UPK kids. So I don't have a fear of kids anymore. Thank God. Because without children in your church is going to die. And I've had kids, Christmas Eve, everyone's there, the pomp and circumstance. Yeah, this last year we had 38 last year, and this year we had 77. And but no straw next year. I keep saying the straw was everywhere this last year. Oh, it was a mess. But it was a fun mess. And I didn't care. But next year I don't think I'm going to do straw. We did animals of the manger. So we did nativity, but from the animal's point of view, which was really fun. The kids had a great time. But anyway, I truly believe in the Holy Spirit is with us. He's touched us. And I truly believe, after the 33 years of suffering, he has freed me, totally freed me of that suffering. And every time I do the ending service on Sundays, they probably wonder why I do the same closing each time. But you'll hear me do it today. It's because go in peace. You have to have that peace that surpasses all human understanding. And that's how I make any decision. I'll make a decision quickly to see if it's mine. But then I know if I have a peace, I know it's from God. And if it's a turmoil, then I know it's not God's. So that's how I tend to find out who's God's will or not. If you're wondering why I saw a green stole, some people know this. When I saw the green stole, I knew it was from God, even though I was confused why he was asking me to do this. But my parishioners probably tell you, I don't like green. To show me a green stole was the one thing he's showing me it was from him. Now, if he gave me a purple stole to look at, you can tell probably from my shoes and my things, I love purple. So if I had seen a purple stole, it was probably not from God. So that's how I knew God was really talking to me. But I pray you find the same peace. If you have something that you're living with, I pray that you feel that release of suffering that the widow in the Bible and that I have felt. I just pray that for each and every one of you.